why do the markets not reflect this terrible economy? So the reason why is a lot of these companies are making more profit year after year. So the markets are going to look like they're increasing year after year. And they are making more profit, but the problem is there's a lot more inflation than ever before. And the way they're hiding this inflation is by, one, skinning the cat, and two, driving wages down. So the companies are keeping wages at an all-time low by increasing the amount of illegal workers, also increasing the amount of H1B visas, which a lot of these workers are satisfied with low wages. And the problem is this really hurts the American people more than anything else, because these companies are greedy as all get out. They're just chasing these numbers, and these corporate employees that all they are concentrated on is increase profit year after year. That's their only goal. They don't care how they get to that goal. They don't care how many people are hurt to get to this goal. They're just worried about themselves and their own bonuses, their own productivity that shows, oh, look, we made $1 million more this year. Well, the way that they're doing this now, because they can't skin the cat anymore, they can't cut costs and manufacturing anymore, they can't go to another China. There isn't another China, and China is getting more expensive to produce these items at, and they're getting better at producing goods. So where they make their money is by driving down wages and keeping wages low while they increase their product cost. That is how they make more money. So us, the people who buy the goods, are spending more money. We're making less money, and we're spending more money on these goods at the store because these greedy corporate businesses are raising the cost of their goods because it costs more to make, and they need to improve and increase their profits year after year. So these illegal immigrants are great for them, and the H1B visas are awesome as well, because these people aren't going to complain when their wages are low. They're not going to complain about what they make, where they live, because it's much better than where they come from. All right. And a lot of people are saying, oh, well, Americans are so selfish. They're used to this entitled way of living and blah, blah, blah. You know what? Look at how these corporate people live. You know, how would they feel if they weren't able to make ends meet, or they're making $100 less a year due to inflation, so they're not able to get the same amount of goods? They would be pissed. What if these corporate owners saw that their percentages of profit were actually 50% less? Would they be mad? Oh, yes, they would. And so it's messed up that they want to guilt trip the American worker, the hard-working American worker, who actually is working harder than these H1B visa people, because these H1B visas, a lot of them are also on government assistance, which a lot of people don't mention and they don't calculate in. When they come over here, they bring their family. All right? Usually, only their husband works, or their wife, or vice versa. There's usually one person in their household that stays home. And guess what? They're still a person. So what are they doing? They're getting all the assistance from the government. So they're getting free food, free housing, free education, free health care for all their kids. And their husband or whatever's working this job that regular Americans are working, And they come show up to these jobs with a smile on their face because they're making out more than the average American who's working that same job. And then you got these managers that are so out of touch with reality I remember I had a manager one time who was like, "Oh, I love the Mexicans because they work so much harder than you guys and they don't complain. They just do their job." Yeah, well, I wouldn't complain either if I got a great hand dealt to me like they do, where my family could stay home. My wife could watch my kids and I could get free food. And literally all the money I make at my job goes to savings or a nice car or truck or spending it on a nice vacation. A lot of American people, we can't even go on vacations anymore. You can't even take off a job for a couple weeks to a month, for whatever kind of emergency, because it's too expensive. Now the cost of living, if you take off a couple weeks, that's, $6,000 that you're losing just from not working for a few weeks. So there's not as much room to be out of a job, where at least these H1B visas, if they run out of a job, they have free housing, they have government assistance. It's extremely messed up, and it's hurting the American more than everybody even knows, and they're all lying about it. And that's why you see these markets staying at making record profits. It's because they're screwing the American wage, and that's how they're able to pretend that the economy's great. Trump, all these idiots, these boomers that think, "Oh yeah, look at the Dow, it's doing great, so the economy's awesome." No, you gotta look at how Americans are living. Like, look at the cost of food. People are spending incredible amounts on food, on a roof over their head, over houses. I mean, houses today are quadruple what they used to be 20 years ago. All right? And if you think about it just with common sense, and you look at, wow, how do these people from countries that are made out of mud houses and dirt roads able to just assimilate perfectly into this American economy where the average house is $500,000 to $1 million? How are they able to just come in here willy-nilly with a smile on their face working these easy jobs? Well, because they're not, okay? They're getting assisted to be able to live in this economy. Americans who've been here for generations can't even make it. So how would you think these people that haven't been here for generations, without any foothold or any, lineage that passes down wealth, be able to make it? It's because they're giving them free money to be able to sustain in this way of life. It's corrupt, and nobody's talking about it. All right? How are you supposed to live off of $20 to $30 an hour when food is, $1,000 to $2,000 a month, and your mortgage is, roughly $4,000 a month? You'd have to be making a crazy amount just to make ends meet in a basic living condition. So, bottom line is, one of the biggest harms to America is illegal immigration, H1B visas, which is driving down and extremely hurting the American people. Our wages are not going up with inflation, and they're using this to make profits off of us. That's how they're able to show this false reality of them making more profits. No, they're not making more profits. They're actually losing profit, but they're making the profit off of driving down wages by increasing inflation. So that's the truth. It's something that like I see constantly that drives me nuts. And you talk to boomers and they'll just like shake their head and just, they don't care. Why? Because they've already made their money. They've already paid off their 10 houses. They don't care about their lineage. They don't care about their kids and what they're having to go through, and that their kids are going to have to go through this in a world that they've destroyed. They just care about sitting on an island on a beach somewhere, hanging out, enjoying their retirement. They don't care about the future of America. They could care less. And the ones that do is few and far between.